But it should be Assassinaut.
Yeah, because there's 3 assassins.
No, because then it would be astronaut.
Right, but there's 3 assassins.
Yeah.
So Assassinaut.
Yeah.
Get it?
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Come on, Jen, these
the
jokes
joke
are
is
better
funny,
if you
and
don't
then
have
we
to
had to
explain
explain it to you.
Welcome to the Skiffy and Fanty Show, Torture Cinema.
The movie has entered my body through my eyeball.
The one thing you could have pulled from this dumb movie.
Most memorable line.
Well done.
Well done. I'm Sean.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Jen.
Who's
And theoretically, you recognize that voice. Who is that, though? Who are you, really?
What? Jen? Former co-host of
Wait.
the Skiffy and Fanty
Just
Show.
imagine I'm smoking a cigarette and I'm like, Jen, I haven't heard that name in years.
It certainly feels like it, given the fucking disaster zone that is the world.
Well,
Kind
and
of
it has
steak.
also been essentially a year since the last time I was on the show, so...
Pretty close, yeah.
It was last March, so...
Yeah, almost a year.
Yep. And I appreciate the break tremendously.
You just tried to go cold turkey.
Alright.
Yes, but my addiction will return now that I've returned for Torture Cinema.
Because you enjoyed watching this movie
So much. It was just so great.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to do this once a month for the rest of my life.
Well, just wait. You know the person who suggested this movie to
I
us.
did. And she's already apologized, so...
You said I did in past tense as if she is already dead to you.
She's apologized, but she is dead to me. Yep.
So on today's show, we'll talk about what we're drinking, an Assassinaut, a 2019 film written and directed by Drew Bolduc and starring Shannon Hutcherson, Jasmina Parent, Yale Haskell, Jonathan Newport, and some more folks that we won't necessarily mention because it's a lot of other names. This film was suggested by longtime listener Catherine, aka @Joan_of_orc on the Twitters. Thank you so much, Catherine. We really appreciate this choice that you added to this fucking show.
Yes, you aren't really dead to me, Catherine.
Who hurt you?
And you do not have to return the stickers that I just sent you. So
I'm gonna come to your house and I'm gonna slap those stickers out of your hand.
oh no!
Nice. But before we do that, a friendly reminder that we want to hear from you. Share your comments with us about this and past episodes at skiffyandfanty.com/listener suggestions. We're working on putting together those mailbag episodes. We need a few more listener suggestions and feedback and thoughts, etc. So please get those thoughts in. All right, well, let's get to what we're drinking, because I think that at least one of us is drinking, I think 2 of us are drinking possible alcohol. And so I will throw this out to Jen, who probably is not. Jen, what beverage are you imbibing at this moment?
You are right. I am not imbibing an alcoholic beverage. However, I am imbibing a delicious mandarin orange generic soda from Walmart.
Like sugared soda or like
no,
a
sugar-free,
LaCroix?
of course. But it's still sweetened.
Oh, it's sweetened.
Yeah,
That's what I meant.
It's fake
yeah,
sugar, that kind of... No, it's terrible. It's fucking awful, actually. I thought it was seltzer water, which I love. It's not.
Alex, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a peanut butter milk stout nitro from Left Hand Brewing.
Very nice.
Oh.
I think I've had that one. It is very good.
It is delicious. I mean, Left Hand is like, they just have the best milk stout. Hands down. I know a lot of people like their IPAs, but they're wrong. The stouts are the best, so.
I really do quite like stouts. I'm with you there.
And it's stout season, so.
It is.
That's true. Winter is definitely stout season.
What are you drinking, Sean?
I decided to take my hand at creating alien blood as a cocktail. So it's green.
That is very green.
Which is appropriate. It's very green. You can thank the Midori because Midori makes everything green. So it has Midori, which is important. It has Tandoori orange gin. It also has some triple sec and some Cointreau and a splash of blue curacao and grenadine just for the color. And then, yeah, I've been pouring my version. I'm a bubbly mango passion fruit into it. So that's what I'm drinking.
See, that's what I would have liked to be drinking right now, but instead I got the one with fake sugar, and I'm still upset.
Well, fantastic. Well, now we need to get on to summarizing Assassinaut.
I had to come up with the tagline. I'm not doing this.
I'm the guest. You're a terrible person if you asked me to do it.
Well, isn't that funny? Because I am, in fact, a terrible person.
I was gonna say.
So, Jen, what is this movie about?
I'm just gonna go with the Rotten Tomatoes description, which is a team of 4 teenage astronauts braves the alien wilderness of a distant planet to save Earth's president from a deadly assassin. And that's the basic premise of this film.
That's not even the correct premise of the film.
No, that's literally what the premise is supposed to be. It just doesn't deliver that in any capacity whatsoever.
Because she doesn't know there's an assassin till the end.
No, I mean, there's the first assassin, and then there's the second assassin. Because the first assassin's the one that blew up the... Well, technically, there's 3 assassins.
Jesus.
Oh.
That's why they call it Assassinaut. It's not because they wanted to say ass twice. Yeah.
And 3 of them are also astronauts, eventually, anyway. Because there's the commander who killed the first president and then doesn't get in trouble because apparently they wanted him to kill the president.
Yeah, it's unclear how that works.
And now he has to babysit children astronauts.
Who are children astronauts for some reason.
Some reason, just because shits and giggles.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what you do, right? You spend billions of dollars sending children into space for fun. Yeah.
Yeah, through a wormhole through space.
Is there a wormhole also?
Yeah, do you miss that? Did you blink?
I mean, honestly, Jen.
I definitely missed that.
How do you think they got to the space station?
I don't know, Jen. This is
They
so
literally,
confusing.
oh my god, it's so amazing. They put them into a pod individually, and then you hear like a zip, and they disappear from the pod, and then the next person goes in. And then, when the girl goes in finally and gets zapped, they do one of those like really tacky like wormhole,
Jesus.
special effects where she's like traveling through it. At least it's the lights, and then she's on the space station.
Oh god.
The presidential space station. It's very exciting.
It's all very confusing.
They have the technology for, teleportation apparently, so like...
They have the technology. They will build him.
I mean, sure, why not? Just why not? Nothing in this movie makes sense.
Anyway, so the second assassin is the one that blows up the new assassin, the space station.
Okay, that's the one that paints his face.
Yeah, that's the one that paints his face blue in a plot hole the size of...
Why?
The fucking Nile. And then the third assassin is the girl. The blonde girl who is apparently just trying to kill the president. Yes, Charlie.
The question that raises is immediately like, while the president is injured, why doesn't she just kill her?
I think because at that point she didn't have a gun, because later when she had the gun and she killed the other lady... So remember, we're talking about 2 blonde girls. There's the blonde girl with the long hair who is the assassin, and the girl with the bob that is not the assassin, even though she's very creepy.
She's weird. Yeah.
Weird.
She's a bit strange. She's off.
Very.
But anyway, so that is technically the premise of this film. And now I've described that there are 3 assassin knots. So...
Should this movie actually be Assassinaut?
Yeah, yes, it should have another ass in it.
There's 3 asses.
Correct.
It's just, I'm really mad. There's...
Ass in knot? Is that like the
Assassinaut.
No. It's just Assassinaut.
Right. Well, the way they've spelled it is incorrect, which is Assassinaut or Assassinaut, but it should be Assassinaut.
Yeah, because there's 3 assassins.
No, because then it would be astronaut.
Right, but there's 3 assassins.
Yeah.
So Assassinaut.
Yeah.
Get it? Yeah.
I mean,
come on, Jen. These
the
jokes
joke
are
was
better
funny,
if you
and
don't
then
have
we
to
had to
explain them.
explain it to you.
Oh my god.
okay. Everyone, it is known that the sense of humor that Sean and I share is extremely sophisticated.
Yeah. I mean, definitely more sophisticated than I am. So
Very sophisticated.
I know I set a really high bar for that too.
She didn't get the joke.
You just stop laughing and get to the next fucking point.
I can't.
You were not allowed joy.
I mean,
Not on this
not
show.
in the year 2022.
Not in the year of our Lord COVID-19.
God damn.
Oh, Christ. Well, anyway, okay, so, we're going to talk about this movie now.
Are we though? Are we?
I mean, why the fuck not? Let's do this stupid movie.
You have no idea how much fun it is not giving a crap about the script or timeline as a guest of this show.
I mean, the great thing is I just delete anything I don't like.
That's true. You're just going to delete me from this podcast.
Yeah, it's going to be Alex and I talking to the ghost of this movie. It's the fourth ass that's in this movie.
Yeah, the fourth ass. I mean,
The
this
ass,
is some
ass,
mutant
ass,
affair.
Assassinaut.
Jesus Christ.
The fourth ass. I think that's the director. Is the
It was
fourth
the ass on the
This-
grassy knoll. The grassy knoll.
These ass puns are the best. Okay, let's talk about this movie in a little bit more specific detail. So, Alex, if you would be so kind, could you tell us something you liked about this movie?
Okay, you know what? I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit that we talked about off podcast, but the exterior shots are very pretty because it's in Virginia. I mean, I wanted to be able to say more nice things about this movie, but I can't come up with anything because they were trying. Bless their hearts.
They were trying.
They were trying.
I think that's a fair thing to say, is they were trying. It was clear they wanted this to be a good movie. I mean, I'm not totally convinced the director thought that's what they were doing, but based on the interviews I read, which made me very suspicious. But I will grant you, this was primarily shot in Virginia, and it is very, very pretty. The exterior shots are quite nice.
Yeah, it was very green. I mean, they had a bunch of really pretty streams that they kept dumping fake blood into.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was weird.
Well, I mean, it's because it's a much lower budget effect thing to do, to be like, we're going to dye some running water red, than to actually show you, like, a really good prosthetic of, like, somebody getting murdered, you know, like the makeup thing. And also, like, to a certain extent, considering the budgetary constraints, like, the way it was shot was really smart, for the most part. Like, you know, as much as I like to make fun of the alien parasite has entered my body through my eyeball line, because that was sure a thing, like, it was actually a really smart thing to do, where they were like, well, we only have enough to be like, here's something coming out of this dead thing, and then here's a sound effect, because sound effects are really fucking cheap. We'd rather kind of, like, cut away and make it slightly awkward than show you something that's gonna look just really dumb.
And also, we think our audience is not smart enough to pick up on the fact that the dude clearly has something in his brain now.
Also true. But, like, I mean, so for the most part, like, the script was terrible. I'm sure we will talk about this more later. But within the constraints of the terrible script, the way they actually, like, edited it and put it together was not bad.
I agree. I think there are some really good shot selections that are made. I think, like, I wouldn't, like, look, this is clearly done on the cheap. This did not have a large budget. And some of the shot selections are, I think, quite smart. Like, the opening scene, I think, is pretty well shot. It's weird. It's super weird. But that opening scene where he's just staring at this baby, which I assume is his kid, I guess, I thought that set the tension pretty well. I don't know why there's tension. He's having a moment. Apparently it's because he's going to go murder the president, which is a thing you can just go do, apparently. But there are some really good shot selections based on what's here. If there was more money to not suck at other things, I think this could be a C movie. I mean, the script, as you point out, Alex, correctly, that the script has many problems.
I mean, the script is one of the... I would hold it up as maybe directors shouldn't write their own scripts. Because occasionally you get someone who's, like, a really good director and a really good writer, but most of them aren't.
Yeah, that's a good point. This is a thing where, I don't know, they needed somebody who kind of better understood the economics of this to sort of, like, rewrite this script to fit the, like, $12 they had to work with and like a 7-Eleven they got their food from. Yeah.
I don't know. This film's like an hour and 20, a 2 hour movie that, for some reason they're like, we're just going to cut 40 minutes out of it for no reason whatsoever. Not because of the budget, but just because we were like, nobody needs that part of the story.
Did they cut 40 minutes from the movie?
No, but it feels like it because there's so much just not there.
Yeah.
There's so much that is sort of implied by the script that they're just like, no, we're not going to put that into this movie. Sorry. And the only explanation really is that the budget was like, we hit our budget cap in shooting anything whatsoever, but we're still going to release this and it'll be fucking amazing.
So many plot holes.
So many.
Holes. Yeah, at least its exteriors are pretty.
Yeah. The exterior, coming back to my life, the exteriors are pretty.
Yeah, and the actual film quality is good. They went with kind of a grittier texture. It made it seem like a better quality film than it actually was.
Wow, that was
that was very nice.
Compliment.
So, I can in fact tell you what kind of cameras they used.
Oh, well that's spiffy.
Because at theblackandblue.com, one of the assistant camera people did mostly a day-by-day journal of his experiences of making the film. Now, most of the stuff isn't about the quality of the production itself. It's mostly like his perspective making the film behind a camera. But they did, in fact, have a number of interesting things, which I don't know what any of these mean, so maybe Alex can help. So I'm just going to say there's a red Epic Dragon with low light OLPF.
Probably filters.
Yeah. Well, and like red is a really good brand of digital camera.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like when I was on that film project, we rented a red because that was like A+.
And then they do have a variety of lenses at different millimeter levels and a bunch of filters, a lot of matte boxes and mount heads and baby sticks and apparently they brought a drum kit because they have hi-hats. So I don't know if that's useful for filmmaking, but
I don't know enough about about like camera work.
It was probably for the special effects sounds of the gunshots or something.
They had a hi-hat for it. They just brought a drum kit.
That would have made this film so good.
But in any case, I'll link to it in the chat for folks that I think this is quite interesting from a production perspective, if that's the thing you're curious about. He has a whole... Evan Luzi is the fellow's name, Luzi. And you can read about his production notes of him being behind the camera and participating. So they're really interesting, even if they don't really tell us about anything about the production of this film outside of the pure technical side.
Well, I mean, the technical side is what played into the only good thing about this movie.
There you go. All right, well, let's move on to Jen as our guest. What is your like about this movie? And it needs to be a legitimate like. I will not accept any union references.
So my legitimate like was when the guy falls over and shoves the blade further into his brain, finally killing him. I laughed. That was the only time I had any emotional reaction in this entire film other than just pure, disgust and just disappointment and sadness. Was the kids are, wandering around the planet after they've been jettisoned to it from the space station because someone blew it up. This is the actual plot summary, everyone. So they're wandering around the planet finding other survivors, and the first one they come across is some random guy who has a giant piece of shrapnel in his brain. But instead of, killing him instantly...
It makes him not see their faces. He can't see their faces.
Yeah, it just gives him face blindness, which is, a legitimate thing. If there were some brain damage, face blindness is absolutely a thing. But the man should just be dead. Just dead. And so when he finally just falls over on his face and kills himself, I laughed because it was hilarious and also put that scene out of its misery.
I mean, poor guy, he got to be in this movie for 47 seconds.
It sounds like they had enough budget that they actually paid their actors. So, he got a couple hours of work, and they probably let him hit the craft table, which had some veggie trays from Walmart.
Yeah.
I think he had more scene time than the statuesque guard lady.
Oh, that her.
Who-
Yeah.
like was on for maybe a minute. I think he had like 3 whole minutes.
Look, I won't say that I can do the calculations, but maybe I'll do it later. But I think you might be right that they're pretty close to even, or he's slightly more. Because he gets a little bit of scene chewing.
Yeah, he gets a scene. They get a scene. It ends beautifully. It's just honestly.
Yeah, she does not get a lovely end. She just gets like
No.
murdered in the back of the head by the evil assassin blonde, which
Yes.
is how the reveal happens.
Rude.
Yeah, very rude. I mean, that's not how you take care of somebody who's crawling away from you.
And putting her out of her misery. I had no choice.
But it was like, why? She's basically incapacitated. You could just like walk away.
Oh, I know. Like, she had nothing to do with the president, like, declaring nuclear holocaust. 2?
Two is an
it's
important
not-
number. There were
2.
2
It's very
nuclear
important.
holocausts, which involve aliens somehow.
Never explained.
Never explained.
It's I'm very confused about everything.
Yeah.
Don't
no.
worry, Alex.
So-
You're not going to be less confused when this is over.
People are going to be like, wait, is the Skiffy and Fanty discussion more confusing than the movie or less confusing than the movie? And listeners, I can tell you now, this is way less confusing than the movie.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, no, that is correct. That is correct.
My illegitimate like was that I watched this on, I think, Tubi.
Yeah.
And there were commercials. And thank fucking goodness.
I watched the
Yep.
same one.
It was the, like, really desperately needed break that I needed approximately every, 10 minutes or so. Like, every time the commercial came on, I was like, oh, thank God. Okay, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it through this next stretch because I just got to breathe for a solid 3 commercials. And do you have any idea how long it's been since I've watched commercials? I don't watch YouTube, so literally years. And it was really nice to see them again. I never thought I'd say that. I'd be like, oh God, I love commercials now. Love
They
them.
helped break this up.
Yeah, they really did. They were like mini intermissions where you got like the light taste of the new Subway bread. So that was really nice. And every time the commercials ended, I mean, let's be honest that Procter and Gamble spent more money on their Dawn commercial
Than this movie.
But-
Yeah, of course they
than this movie had as a budget.
Any one of the commercials that were on this spent more money than
Yes.
this. All right, well, let's get to my like then.
Yep.
I think the thing I like is going to be a weird one, which is that I kind of like the performance from the commander. The actor's name, if I recall correctly, is Vito Trigo.
I'm sorry. I might have to leave right this minute because how fucking dare you like that aspect of this film? He was so genuinely awful.
I don't agree. I think, look, what he had to work with was not great, and the storyline they gave to him makes almost no sense. But there are some good moments with his acting that I found really compelling compared to literally anybody else in this fucking movie.
I will try not to laugh at you while you are speaking.
I don't know what to tell you. Nobody else, like, we have creepy Bob girl who just stands there. We have the kid who just is, like, he's a
The
rich
kid who is the dick.
The dick kid.
Yeah, but he was really good at that.
I was so glad when he got killed. I was just
I know.
so fucking annoying. I hated him.
Thrown off a cliff too.
It
Like,
was
oh,
it was just beautiful.
chef's kiss.
Very, very. I agree. Yeah. And then you got your evil lady who's just, I guess, meant to be like the cute one, I guess, is like what she's playing at. And then you got the smart one, the one that they call nerd.
Brooke.
Yeah. And then you've got Commander, who doesn't even have the audacity of having a name, but yet also has a child that apparently died in the Holocaust, which is what I've inferred from what happened.
Which, has nothing to do with the fact that he had just murdered the previous president. I'm sure
With
that
a
has.
knife.
With a knife.
Yeah, he's a badass is what I'm saying. Unlike the captain, who's a coward.
The captain's not a coward. He doesn't go down with... Like, the captain goes down with the ship.
Yeah, but he's still a coward. He's a coward of
Oh,
inaction.
right, because he didn't kill...
He can't do it.
Because he didn't kill the president.
Yeah, but why does he go down with the space station? That doesn't make any sense.
Because that's what captains do.
No, it's not. It's not a captain space. Why is he a captain on a space station? It's not a ship. It's just like a floating city.
Yeah, but he was literally the captain on the space station.
He's an idiot. He should never have accepted the promotion.
Coward.
How dare you, Captain? You don't even get a name or a family, you coward.
His name's Brian. actually.
Oh, is his name Brian? He's not listed on IMDb.
We learned it from the conversation with Jack.
Oh, that's right, because they do
How
have a
dare you,
conversation.
Jack. Oh, you think you're better than me now, Jack?
Why'd you put me in charge of the kids? Because you're good with kids. No, he's not. He's terrible with children. He's awful with kids.
And yeah, Jack calls him Brian.
Yeah, he calls him Brian. You're right. I remember now. But anyway, I liked Vito Trigo in this. Like, there are moments I thought where he gives that kind of monologue where he's like talking and like quoting other people, but he
was literally quoting Shakespeare.
Yeah.
That is the one good scene.
Yeah, he's in that.
Because it was written by nobody on the actual staff.
Yeah, and he delivered well.
And yes, he delivered it.
He delivered it well. That's what I'm saying.
A talking hamster could deliver it well.
Well, look, Hollywood has given us a talking hamster movie, so it could happen. You never know. There could be The Tempest by those fucking... What was the name of that movie with the, like, roller hamster, like, spies or whatever? That movie.
Oh, yeah, that one. Were those hamsters or guinea pigs? I think those were
who even fucking knows? They're all the same thing. They're rodents.
If you are in fact somebody who has pet rodents and loves them very much, you can contact Sean Duke at Sean Duke on Twitter.com to let him know your feelings about him conflating hamsters and guinea pigs.
Fair point. Fair point. I happen to like rodents.
You like feeding them to your reptiles, probably.
I do, in fact, feed them to my reptiles. That is correct. You know, that's just a thing that's Mother Nature.
You probably have an eye vulva alien in your belly.
That is unlikely because I'm not stupid enough to eat something that looks like an evil slug that would attach to your face.
But that was a different alien.
There's a
the
bunch
eye
of weird
alien was
aliens.
different from the
that's
slug
right.
alien.
There's like what the fuck is the eye alien? Like, it's in its belly.
It's the same one that was in the original president and apparently has been passed down for generations.
But when she collects it from the new president's body, it doesn't show us the eye. It's like a box.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it showed the eye.
Did it?
I was very confused by this part.
It definitely showed the eye.
Well, let me explain, Alex, because I think this will help you better understand this movie. So for generations, humanity's greatest leaders have been a vessel for an alien entity that is like a weird slug thing with one giant eye, which has helped direct humanity. Now, what the movie doesn't explain is exactly how we still...
That's how it's...
Yeah, it's like the time box is what it's called.
Yeah, but like, where do you get the whole, it's been doing this for generations?
She literally said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, it's been doing this, like, this has been here with us for, like, generations, is basically what she says.
Apparently controlled by an alien entity in their tummy.
I just assumed it was that first president because there was the alien invasion, so I figured it started with the first president. Not any time prior to that.
Also, just like, why is it an eyeball alien, but it's called a time pod? What the fuck?
They thought they were doing two different movies, apparently, and it's very confusing.
That explains so much.
It also doesn't
honestly.
explain, is that alien that's inside the president's stomach the same alien species that the Earth is at war with at the beginning that causes...
Is it like the same thing that made What's-His-Bucket melt and turn into a flesh sleeping bag?
Right.
That the girl with the bob cut? Like, I don't know.
Flesh sleeping bag.
What? Like, how else do you describe that?
Oh my god! That is the most accurate description.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
Thing.
You too, listeners, could have your very own
flesh
sleeping bag. Find it now on Amazon.com.
Thank you, Alex. That's great.
You're welcome, citizen.
Yeah, all of the aliens, like, there's multiple different layers of aliens in this, but none of them are explained.
No, there's only two.
No, there's the aliens
Possibly
on the planet.
3.
There's the planet, which is not Earth, that they're on, even though it's in Virginia, and that has aliens on it.
Well, the fish slug alien.
Right.
At least.
And then there's the aliens that they're at war with, which may or may not be the same alien that's inside the president.
Oh, okay, wait. There's that one scene where she shoots the mammary alien. Is the mammary alien the same as the vulva eye alien?
As you can tell, listeners, this movie was very clearly written. It has a lot of clarity in it.
Tons of clarity. I just want to say, since the character has come up already, you know the like president's bodyguard character? Do you know what that character's name is?
The statuesque
No.
Ladyguard?
No. It's Tiberia Blunt Knuckle.
I mean,
Are you shitting me?
that's fucking
I'm
amazing.
dead serious.
Tiberia Blunt Knuckle. Oh,
I love it. I love it.
My
It fits
God.
her. It fits her. I will hear no slander on Tiberia Blunt Knuckle.
She's the only character I could find that has a last name.
It's her nickname. It's her guard, like, code sign, call sign.
All right, I think we should get the dislikes. Alex, what's your dislike?
There's so much to choose from. It actually makes it difficult. I think probably the most concise dislike is the fact that I watched this movie and I was not drunk and I did pay attention and I could not tell you what it is about. And that is a problem. Also, I hated the one little kid and I was happy that he died. Like, God. I mean, I guess kudos to the child actor that he managed to be that annoying, but, you know, for kids that age, is it really that much of a stretch?
Nah, I guess that's fair. Yeah.
But yeah, the script didn't make any goddamn sense. Like, you know, you notice how we spent time talking about, like, is it just one race of aliens? Are there multiple? Like, yeah, like, what? Nobody knows. And that's a problem. This movie makes no sense.
I remember all the distinct pieces. Like, I remember all of those details. Put together, though, they do not form a complete puzzle. No, there are just... It's literally like somebody vomited into a cup. This is the resulting story. But there are distinct, like, pieces of food in there floating around.
Chunks, if you will.
Chunks, if you will.
Kind of gross. I mean, you're right, Alex, though, that while you can, like, make sense of what the plot is supposed to be, the story itself does not adhere to it at any point. Like, the basic plot is, like, these kids are going to space, and they crash land on a planet, and they have to go find the president. That's like, the plot of the story. But then there's, like, 8,000 other fucking things going on that are never brought to fruition in any meaningful way.
They're barely even introduced.
Right.
The commander literally murdered the prior president.
Yeah, generally you don't keep that person around.
But why?
We do know that the murder of that prior president did set off nuclear holocaust number 2.
So you can infer why, because he's signing a peace treaty with the aliens, which is why they keep showing that treaty of peace paper that he's got at his desk. And so by not signing it, they continue the war. And he does say, right, if we don't do this, like, they're just like, lots of people are gonna die and we're gonna have, like, war. And so that's basically what happens. But it's one of those things where, like, there's no stakes at that. We're not connected to any of these characters, so we don't know why we're supposed to care outside of, like, the general idea of war is bad.
You don't even get that far.
No.
Really, that war is bad. It's completely divorced from any context within the film.
We don't even see it. Like, the only thing they show is, like, apparently the commander's wife and child, like, just get, like, blurred out with light. And that is the nuclear holocaust beginning, apparently.
I mean, well done with your...
I mean, it's smart.
With your small budget. It was fine.
I mean, you know, token black baby. That's the way you go. They're the only people of color in this movie.
Yeah, it's true.
And they die in a nuclear holocaust in the beginning of the film.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate, because that baby is super cute.
I mean, I thought the baby would actually, like, have some kind of role in the movie, and then it didn't, so I was really confused by the first scene.
I thought the baby was gonna, like, actually be, like, one of the humans taken over by an alien, but...
Oh.
Yeah, because it does seem like the way the baby shows up is very, like, mysterious.
Maybe he's married to this woman who is actually an alien in human form. That's their baby, and he is consciously making the decision to let them die for the cause of no peace between humans and aliens.
What a
I solved
dick.
the plot.
Christ, what an asshole.
What an asshole.
I mean, like, honestly, that's as good of a read as anything else, because I don't fucking know what any of this was about.
All right. Jen, what's your dislike? Go.
I have 2. One is the death of Brooke. Kind of just majorly pissed me off.
Really?
Poor kid. Gets blown up by our own invention. After having spent the entire film getting teased for being able to, like, for being smart and good with computers. She like
Yeah.
whips together a fucking like flame torch and then it blows her up and kills her. You're like, well, yeah, you know what? Go fuck yourselves. Go fuck yourselves, honestly, because that's rude. That was rude as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Second, I did not like the implied, like, lesbian love story between the teenage girls that just felt awkward and slightly forced, and
What was that?
I mean, it felt like an awkward lesbian love story written by a man.
That's what it was.
I
Thank
was
you,
so
Alex.
confused because they're like wandering in the forest together, like playing and like dangling off of things like monkeys and like right? And then they like look at each other longingly and then Brooke walks away and I'm just or not Brooke, sorry, Charlie walks away and I'm just like, what did they just have a romantic what is happening?
They 100% had a romantic moment. It reminded me of like Beautiful Creatures.
Oh.
That's kind of mean to Beautiful Creatures as a movie.
Yeah, that was a little uncalled for.
But in that sort of awkward, coming into sexuality sort of phase, but again, as written by a man, and also abandoned, and also, in this case, kind of a toxic representation because, like, one of them ends up being evil, and the other one is played by Creepy Girl.
Yeah, which we can kind of, I guess, interpret why she walks away instead of... I think that last bit is meant to be a kiss, is like what it's leading to, and she walks away.
Right, that was fine. Like, that was fine. It's just, I mean, it did read by, like, a very awkward sort of love story between them, but then they made the decision to, like, to have one played by Creepy Girl, and then they have the other one be, like, Revenge Assassin. Which, granted, her reasoning was 100% spot on. You go, girl. Take your revenge on the president. But it was a strange choice in this, especially as it had a mammary monster and, an eye vulva. So it was like these weird, like, choices.
But there's like why would they have a romance? Like, no offense, the main character is not on the same wavelength as the rest of us. And like there's nothing indicated in their behavior to suggest to us that they're interested in this. And so it just comes out of left field. Like they're just having this romantic relationship. If you were to do this normally, the film would start to hint at it at the beginning and develop it over the course of the entire film. So that when it finally happens, we see this character who's very scientific and not emotional actually express emotions we've not seen before. But that's not the film we're given. We're given this character who just like dissects frogs like it's not a big deal and literally says I would dissect a cat except it costs too much. Because literally, this main character spends their allowance money on frogs to dissect. That's what they do for funsies. Like,
That's fine. She's been trying to be an astronaut her entire life, and then she got picked for this thing. Like, those are not the things that make her creepy. All of her actions, like, from that point on, and the way she, like, delivers lines, and the way she looks at people.
She just stares. She just, like,
yeah,
looks
it was
at
just,
you.
like, because of the fact that the director was bad enough to give her all of these, like, personality traits, presumably he's trying to say something with, but, like, what are they? Are they personality traits? Are they just bad direction? Why does this... I have no problem with the romance existing, per se. I have a problem with the way that it played out, and the fact that it was just kind of like we're going to put in this strange, like, budding sexuality between two teenage girls, and oh, by the way, mostly men are probably watching this film, but we're going to throw that in there anyway, because we're creepy.
Yeah.
And like, it did not need to be there. They're in the middle of, like, trying to survive an alien planet, and they're like, let's make this budding teen romance moment in the middle of all this.
Yep.
And it felt very voyeuristic. And why, dear God, why do men bother writing these things into things?
If it were in a film that was setting that up as the thing that we're getting to, it would make sense. But it comes out of left field. And this is my dislike, which is that so many things in this are just tropes that are inserted in, but are not actually integral to the story. They're just, we need to get to the next trope. All right, we're moving from cliche to cliche to cliche. And the example I would pull from is not the romance, but actually the random bit where the commander teaches them how to use a gun.
Oh yeah, what was that?
For what? There's no sense to that. But also, they apparently don't need it because the two oldest girls, apparently are like crack shots, which is also great. I mean, I like that. That's kind of cool. I mean, it makes kind of sense because clearly one of them is at least from more of a rural area, so maybe they've been raised with guns, but whatever.
And the other one is a trained assassin, Sean.
Right, so we learn, yeah. But it's one of those things where, like, it's a scene that would make sense in a different movie. In this movie, it makes no sense. Why is he teaching them to use a gun? There's only, like, one gun.
And he got it back in Nam, or something to that effect.
He got it in, like, he's just had a gun for a while, but he doesn't like to use it. He likes to cut people's throats.
He specifies a war in China.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he got it from someone in China.
Yeah. So he's this like weird like Vietnam vet sort of like stand-in guy, and it's like even that is uncomfortable.
And I want to specify that there is a difference between like this movie has troubled a concept in a way that makes me uncomfortable because it's making me think about things in a different way, and just this is making me cringe, and not in an interesting way.
Right.
I think that's a good distinction to make. The difference between something that's made you uncomfortable because it's failing at what it's trying to do, it's making you think about things in ways that are inappropriate, versus the kind of, like, this has made me uncomfortable because it's challenging my assumptions about this thing. And so that discomfort's coming from you sort of questioning yourself as you work through whatever the topic happens to be. And this film does not do that.
Or if I were a bigot, you know, like, that makes me uncomfortable because...
Well, there's a third category,
right,
which
exactly.
is I'm uncomfortable because I'm presented with something...
This is cringe. Cringe. Bad director. Bad director.
It is very strange.
And the other dislike, of course, is the commander, because he was fucking terrible.
I mean, you're wrong, but I appreciate your perspective in the sense that I don't appreciate it. But
I can't even say that the guy like did a good job or not. The fact that he was essentially a Vietnam vet, like stand-in sort of character, that's clearly what they're referencing here, is that like it's a hardened, like, you know, I came out of Nam and now I'm a hard ass type of character, which is like, you know, whatever. I don't know why that's going to be a callback in this film, and why you're specifically like, they're adding in the Orientalism of like the war happened over in Asia type of thing, which is, you know, like, what the fuck are you putting that into this movie for?
It's my thing. That's my issue, is that it just is inserting all these elements.
Right.
But it doesn't want them to be like, we're going to explore this element. It's like, no, we're just like, here's the next thing. Here's the next thing.
We're going to throw this in because we don't think it's problematic, even because we're not smart enough to like actually look at this critically in any way, shape, or form.
That would be interesting, right? If the commander were explored as, like, he's a guy who is, like, the modern analog to the Vietnam vet, and let's explore what that really means in a modern context. That would be interesting.
Well, that's why he becomes a you know,
an alien monster.
Oh,
sorry,
Lord, that was a thing.
Flesh bag. Flesh sleeping bag.
Thank you,
yeah,
Alex.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, if that's what we're gonna go with, like, yeah, sure, okay, maybe that's what they were trying to do. Maybe they're trying to, like, he is a terrible, evil man, so that's why he's going to be a flesh sleeping bag in the end, that she is forced to murder, because he's a racist, white war vet commander guy who hates children.
He hates children. It's unclear where his, like, he's pro-human.
I mean, it felt like he was trying to like go Full Metal Jacket in a lot of this, which is like puzzling character direction.
I mean, he's not a Vincent D'Onofrio, so
no, goodness no.
And you're like, why would they do that? Is this a comedy? Are we supposed to be looking at this as a comedy?
So the director has said that aspects of this film are meant to be funny. I will just say that I think overall this movie's not intentionally funny.
No point did I even crack a smile. There was nothing. If this was supposed to be funny, no, absolutely not.
Look, Alex is confused, Jen's confused, I'm confused. This movie is just, it is an experience, but not in the way that normally we say is an experience. I think that would be fair to say.
That is fair to say.
So, with that in mind, it is time for us to get to our final thoughts and grade. And so, Alex, I am throwing it to you. What is your last thought you'd like to make about this movie, and how would you grade it?
So, this was sure a thing that I experienced. It's funny because so often we get to drag these movies because they look awful. And this one actually did not. It had like a Krampus the Reckoning level script, while actually having like really good editing and shooting and production values. So it's very confusing because it's normally like you watch a movie and you're like, you know, they were doing their best and it just looks cheesy and that's, you know, whatever. But this was like, it actually looked pretty freaking good. And it's just so, like, so I think your brain keeps wanting to be like, well, no, it was better than it was. No, it was not. So, I mean, it's not good. It's deeply puzzling, but I don't feel like I need to go back and explore its mysteries because I don't care. So, I'm gonna give it a D for disappointing.
Fair enough. All right, Jen, final thoughts and grade.
All I'm saying is if this film somehow thought of itself as like an allegory of Shakespeare's The Tempest.
How? I'm so
They
mad.
must have been, as clearly, like indicated by the commander quoting Caliban's entire speach.
I totally missed that. I'm so thanks.
Introducing
you know what? Fuck this movie.
the
I'm so
planets.
angry now.
As he is smoking a cigarette
This is so pretentious.
and explaining to the children about the new land that they are in, that if that's somehow like what they were going for in this absolute travesty of a attempt at a science fiction movie, no. Please cancel this film. Just disappear it. Make it part of Gen X so that we
Got it.
Are you just gonna take that one for the team so it'll just disappear from all memory forever?
Yeah, that would probably be that would be an improvement on
Jesus
this film.
Christ. God, I was happier not knowing it was supposed to be a fucking like
So what's your grade, Jen?
I'm gonna go with Alex. What did you say? D minus.
it was D for disappointing.
D for disappointing.
Oh, I'm giving it a extra disappointing D minus.
Got it. All right, well, then it comes to me. Look, there's not a lot I can add. The realities are this isn't a great film. This is a super confusing film. I think if you watched it 3 times, you still wouldn't quite know what all the story is. It has some very curious choices about almost anything. I will say it has a very interesting soundtrack, which I will give
That
it
is true.
3 points for. Because the soundtrack is not totally horrible. It sets a tone that this movie is very confused about whatever. Like, it's a look, I think on its own, the soundtrack is actually kind of an interesting piece, but
If you took the filming quality and the soundtrack and applied it to literally any other film,
yeah, you'd end up with something better.
you'd end up with something better, yeah.
Which is why I'm going to give it a D-. I just don't think that this film's worth necessarily giving corporate entities money from advertising, so don't do that. But there it is. All right, folks, we've done it. We're through this. Thanks, Catherine, again for suggesting this film to our listener suggestion form. We really appreciate it, even though we hated this movie.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
It was so bad.
I mean, I believe that's the point of torture cinema, so
yeah,
it's fair.
Fair enough. So if you'd like to let us know what you thought about this movie or this podcast or past episodes, again, go to skiffyandfanty.com/listener-suggestions. You can follow us at skiffyandfanty on Twitter and Instagram and get the newsletter at skiffyandfanty.com/newsletter. Lastly, if you like what we do, there are 2 great ways you can support this show. Patreon.com/skiffyandfanty is the #1 way. You can give us at least $1 and we will be happy inside. The other alternative is to give us 5-star reviews on iTunes and other podcatchers if you so choose. If you want to find me, I am at Sean Duke on Twitter and elsewhere, SeanDuke.net and Alphabet Streams on Twitch, and you can find me on Patreon.com/TheJoyFactory.
And you can find me at Katsu Donbury on Twitter, alexax.com, and at Patreon at patreon.com/alexax.
I am at Loopdiloo, Loopdilou, on Twitter and Instagram, and you can hire me for editing your podcasts at loopdiloo.com. No, I did not edit this podcast, which is why it's terrible.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jen. I appreciate the vote of confidence. Wow.
Shots fired, and we haven't even finished recording this yet. Woo!
I'm just saying that Skiffy and Fanty should hire me, which means that you guys have to give them more money.
So, in any case, it is now my job to make this awkward and strange. So, I just would like everybody to know that the commander and I will be starting up a romance very shortly. It's going to be an awkward story about a guy, his dog, and another guy living in a cabin on an alien planet with slug monsters that live in the rivers. I'm not saying that it's going to be a meet cute, but it very well might be.
I mean, fair.
Do they meet when one of them is taken over by a slug monster?
Yeah, I mean, that's why. What other kind of romance do you want?
No, that sounds perfect.
I mean, I guess you could have a different romance if you're boring.
Yeah, but we're not boring. I don't want no boring romance. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate the vote of confidence. So on that note, everybody, awkward ending and scene. Bye.
Bye.
You're welcome, citizens. I think.
If you want to support this show, you can go to patreon.com/skiffyandfanty or skiffyandfanty.com, our website, where you can get access to all of our fancy things. Our music comes from Holy Mole. You can support him and his work at patreon.com/holymole. Thank you for listening.